rather serve or quit. $10 a month for the cheap shit hosting. And I'm caught in the act of boasting.
Okay, let's talk about databases and web services. And to get us motivated, I figured I'd play that song, which is called My Server Is Down, which is, of course, a terrible thing to have happen if you are running web services or any kind of web-based business. You really can't afford server downtime. So a couple of notes. You all have web space set up for yourselves on Huygens, our machine. Now, I'm not entirely sure how Huygens is pronounced, so I'm going to look this up on Wikipedia. I actually know how it's pronounced. It's very hard for me to say. Yeah, here we go. Ready? I'm not actually going to say Huygens. I'm going to say Huygens because that's how Andy Leahy in the math department says it. So that's what we've got there. Now, a couple of notes for database and web service development. You can get a database, MySQL database, a web server, Apache, and then PHP and PHPMyAdmin set up in your own laptop fairly easily using one of the AMP projects. So on a Mac, you can just go ahead and use MAMP. You don't need the MAMP Pro. You can just go ahead and use regular MAMP. On Linux or Windows, you can use XAMPP. And the A stands for Apache, the M is MySQL, and the P is PHPMyAdmin. I'm not sure why there's an X and a P here, but that's what the AMP stands for. And this is a tool that lets you have a database on your own machine. So, you know, if you sort of look over here, this is my little MAMP thing. It's got Apache, it's got MySQL. They're both up and running. If I go to localhost, I have it set for port 8890. It sets the port numbers differently. You can see all of these folders. You can see here's where I was working on the Hollywood stuff locally. Here's this is a project I'm doing with Kelly Rivers at Carnegie Mellon. This is some of my Marmoset research. This is Evan B's SnapViz for snapshot visualization stuff. This is the old Vote for Senate code, which doesn't work anymore. Some of the schedule stuff. So you can see all this stuff. And if you sort of look on, you can... Oh my gosh, that's really slow. Really? Okay, there we go. If you look here in my MAMP folder, there's an htdocs folder, and then all this stuff is right there, which is actually really cool. That folder is being served by the web server, by Apache, and then when you go just sort of to the general web server, you kind of see all that stuff in here. Now, so if you want to do web development, which you don't need to do any of this for CS262, we're only doing one really, really simple web application just to look up some data and insert some data into a database on Thursday. It's not particularly difficult, and you don't need additional stuff to do it. But a lot of students get very excited about doing web development, and they're like, hey, this is kind of cool. I've always wanted to build a web service for an organization I work with on campus or something like that, or maybe not that you've always wanted to, but you can see the value in doing so. And so that's what people will try to do. And so using one of these AMP projects, MAMP or XAMPP, is a really, really good way to get started on that, because it lets you have everything running locally so you can debug and develop and test on your own laptop, and then when you need to move it to some sort of a server, you can. Now I want to show you an interesting way to move files onto Huygens. So this is a program called FileZilla, and what FileZilla does, what you would do is put in your information up here. I want to connect to Huygens Lab KNET EDU, and if you notice I'm doing SFTP. If you leave off the SFTP, just make sure you put port 22 over here and put in your username and password. You notice I don't have any information under remote site because I'm not connected yet. Under local site, I'm actually in this applications, MAMP, htdocs, example folder. I want to look at some stuff in MAMP. This is you can see I'm still actually working on this file, and I don't know, there's this stuff here. So if I click Quick Connect, it'll go ahead and connect me to the remote site. This is Huygens. You'll all have, I'm in home employee, you'll all be in home student, and then your email username. This space is actually separate from your Z drive or any other stuff that you'll get anywhere else on campus. This is just for the Math CS department. So a lot of you who have done, if you've done 226 before, you've used this extensively. You may have used it a little bit in 142. You may not have. But this is your web space. These are your files for the CS Math server. These are actually stored on Euclid, our main file server. If you want to see your stuff for this course, the easiest way to get there, it's in Home Courses, CS262, F13, HTML. So if we go there, you can see here is a directory for each of your databases, and there's nothing in them. There's stuff in the Hollywood one if we kind of look in there. You don't really want to mess with this using FileZilla. You actually want to mess with it. I'm going to put this up here so that you can just go ahead and download it. This link will be live. Once I finish editing the files, I'm going to tinker with them one last time tonight just to try to make the examples a little bit clearer so that you can go ahead and use them. But if we go back here to, where was I? Right, FileZilla. Come back, FileZilla. There we go. You know, if we, for example, go in here to Alpha, you'll see there's nothing in here. So what you would, and if you have a local folder that's got some files that you're working on with, you know, Notepad++ or, you know, whatever editor you're using to edit your files, when you want to get them onto the website, what you would do is you'd come over here, you'd right-click, and you'd say Upload, and then it'll go ahead and upload all of these files over here. Wait, why did it not upload them? Oh, I don't have write permission. Oh, you know why? Ha! Look at this. This is a permissions issue. Watch this. Yeah, so if we look here, this is Hollywood. If we go here into Alpha, well, let's go back one. If you look at the permissions on Alpha, it's in this. This is the owner, which is root. The group owner is student, and group has read and write permission. But if you look at this, groups JSPACO, I'm not in the student group, so I actually can't write to Alpha. But if Alpha is your database, you could write to Alpha by connecting up over here, and then on this side here, editing your files in whatever folder they're in, and then doing a right-click and an upload. And it'll go ahead and like upload everything. I don't know if you have to select everything or if it just generally works for the whole folder. But this is a good way to keep files, to edit files locally, and you can actually edit the files directly out of the htdocs of your, you know, PHP myadmin, wherever this ends up. On Windows, it'll be someplace totally different. On a Mac, you know, this is where it ends up. So you can edit your files and test them using your local server, and then when you want to move them over to Huygens or to whatever other server, you can just go ahead and come over here and... Why is that not working? Yeah, there we go. Right-click and just, you know, upload the whole folder, or, you know, select all the files and upload those. There might be some way to tell it to send the whole directory. I'm not entirely sure. So this gives you a way to go ahead and keep your files in sync with a remote location. And then if you want to see any of this stuff over here, like suppose we want to look at this Hollywood folder, but we want to do it with a web browser. This is actually located over here. It's at Huygens Lab KNET-EDU 262-F13. So, oh, isn't that interesting? I didn't spell it right. Oh, apparently that's forbidden. That means it's there. So if we want to look at Hollywood, well, that's interesting. How about this? simpledb1.php. Damn it. What is the name of an actual file that's on there? How about insert1.html? Seriously? Why wouldn't I have... Huh. Well, this will be well, maybe I will just go ahead and fix this. Why would that be the case? That I can't... Oh, you know, Apache's not configured to look at this. I forgot. This is a new install. Okay, well, I'll need to be fixing that. The problem is this is sim-linked, and it's not allowed to follow the sim-link for some reason. So I need to fix that. Well, doesn't that suck? Yeah, that definitely sucks. There's no two ways about it. That actually sucks. Well, okay. That's where these files would be, and you could go ahead and see them. So you can go to, basically, the HTML folder. This is the link to the HTML folder, and then you would put in the name of your database and, whatever other files you have inside it over here, and then you'd be able to see it. So the take-home message is you can install MAMP or XAMPP to get Apache and PHPMyAdmin on your local machine if you'd like. FileZilla is a good way to keep files in sync to a server, and I guess that's about it. Those are the main things. Oh, and I don't know how to pronounce Huygens properly. Excellent. Thanks much.